I opened up a brand new Etsy shop 6 days ago, and I've decided to document my process and share my journey with you here on YouTube and also over on Instagram. So I'm starting this shop from the ground up. I'm not leveraging my current audience, and right now I've decided to not use paid ads. So basically I'm starting from zero. And I thought this would be very valuable for you and also really fun for me to start from zero and see if I can hit $4,000 per month selling digital products on Etsy. Now, this is the first episode of the series, and we're gonna jump into what my first 6 days on Etsy was like, the sales I've made, and also my plan to turn things around in case my shop doesn't actually perform well. So without further ado, let's talk about my first 6 days on Etsy. Okay, so it's been 6 days, like I said, and so far I have 23 visits and I've made 1 order. So I made that first order 3 days into opening up my shop, which that's a pretty quick turnaround. I was surprised, but it's now 6 days and I've only made that 1 sale. So at the time I made the sale, I had 5 listings live on my shop. And it's the same product, they're just in different styles. So when I'm choosing a product to create, I like to create something that I know I can make more designs and more styles of. That way the work actually gets easier and I get better at creating the product. Let's say I was selling Instagram templates, I'm not gonna switch to like a business planner or something like that because that means I have to do all the keyword research again, listing photos again, more product and market research to know what to include in that offer. So I'm really mostly focusing on this one product idea and just creating different designs to see which design hits, and then that's where I'm gonna double down on that offer. So another thing that I look at is that I'm picking a product that's in a niche that typically performs well on Etsy. If you need some examples, I have a resource that has 100 digital product ideas broken down by niche. So you can check out that, but then also you're gonna wanna do some market research using Etsy tools and also making sure that people on Etsy are already selling your product idea successfully. I also made sure that the product was in demand but didn't have too much competition. So because I'm starting from scratch and I'm not using paid ads, I wanted to make sure that I was going to be able to have a better chance of ranking naturally, organically in the Etsy search algorithm. And if I'm picking something that is just super competitive, it's going to take a lot longer and I'm going to need a lot more listings in order to do that. And of course, in order for me to stick to it and keep creating products for this shop, I had to make sure that the product idea that I'm creating is something that I'm interested in. So that's how I picked my product idea. Now, something that I found interesting was that before I started creating my product, I had some limiting thoughts that were stopping me from taking action. And the reason why I thought this was interesting was because I've already had other successful Etsy shops, and I've already been successful selling digital products in the past. But for some reason, I had these thoughts that were making me procrastinate. I have my notes down here, so I'll tell you what they were. One was, I don't know enough about design. Another one was, there's more competition now, and everything needs to get done today. So those were the 3 major thoughts that I had to work my way around. So I don't know enough about design. I was able to change my thought to, I'm open to believing I can create designs that sell right now and improve over time. And also I have evidence of product selling in the past, so that was helpful. And then for there is more competition now, what I did was I actually went on to Etsy Hunt and I filtered for Etsy shops that opened up within the past year. And I just took a look at some of the new successful shops. And even though these newer successful shops weren't in my niche, that didn't matter. What mattered was I was seeing new people come onto the scene and start new Etsy shops, and they were seeing a lot of success, more success than I'm even trying to see with this particular shop. So that was helpful. So with those 2 things out of the way, I was still stuck with this feeling of overwhelm that everything had to get done today. And in order to combat that, instead of solidifying which design I wanted to create, the brand palette, and all of those little details, because that was a little overwhelming, I created a folder within Canva and I named it Sketchbook. And I basically started my design project in Canva, and I pulled over templates from the Canva templates that I was inspired by. And I just started playing around with my design ideas. And now, instead of starting from zero, I was able to choose like the top 3 designs that I liked. And those 3 designs ended up being what my first 3 listings were. Okay, so now that we're on the topic, let's talk a little bit more about creating the actual product. So how did I choose what to include in the product? And that came down to really two major things, which is Etsy SEO research and competitor research. So I use Etsy SEO research tools like Sales Samurai and eRank, and this was just to get a gist of what long tail keywords people are actually searching for, so I can get a better idea of what people are looking for as it pertains to my product. And then, of course, I went ahead and validated that those keywords were actually selling well by typing them into the Etsy search bar and finding competitors. Now, I actually think that competitor research is way more powerful than SEO research, because you're really only getting a slice of information from a keyword that might be trending. But if you look at repeating patterns that your competitors are actually seeing success with, then you know really where to start. And FYI, you can learn exactly how I do competitor research and more in my program, Passive Product Payday. Passive Product Payday is a short and sweet program that teaches you how to find your profitable niche, profitable product idea, and craft an irresistible offer in just 3 days. Don't let the price tag fool you. It's helped thousands of people start their profitable Etsy shops. If you're interested in Passive Product Payday, I will link it down below in the description box. So I just use my Etsy competition and Etsy SEO research tools together in tandem to kind of have a full picture view of what style I want to create my first few designs in. And because I decided I'm going to be using Pinterest in order to drive traffic to my Etsy shop, I also looked to see what aesthetics were trending on Pinterest. I also typed in my keywords into Pinterest to see what was populating in the first few dozen rows, because if I'm going to be pinning on Pinterest, then obviously I want to see what's popular on Pinterest. Okay, let's talk about my strategy. So I'm gonna be looking at my notes so I don't miss anything. First thing I wanna say is that it's important to make your product really good, but it's also important not to over-engineer it. So for example, let's say you see some top selling Instagram templates have 40 plus post templates, highlight icons, story templates, a free resource on how to grow on Instagram. Basically, they have like all these different elements to it. You don't want to create all of those things. What you want to do is scale that down and just focus on maybe Instagram posts that are 1080 by 1080. And instead of creating like 100 of them, maybe you just create 15 and you just work hard on your design. That way you don't burn out, and that way you can also create multiple different styles and then just see through experience which ones are getting traction and which ones are selling well. And then once you get those sales, then you can take those 10 Instagram templates that you made and you can add more, or you can add more elements like the Instagram highlight icons and story templates, etc. So that's what I noticed works best for me, and that's what I'm doing with my product that I'm selling on my new Etsy shop. Another thing that I'm doing is I'm having a grand opening sale, and I'm playing with the percentage off. So I first had 20% off, then I moved it to 40% off, and the 40% sale is actually when I got my first sale, and now I moved it to 30%. So I'm playing around with it. I know in the past that I've seen success from 20% to 30% off. I've actually seen more success there than 50% off, but it could just be coincidence. I don't have like a ton of data on that, but I'm playing with that. And then I am doing 24-hour sales, because when you do a 24-hour sale, when someone clicks into your listing, it says the hours left of the sale. So I just think that when someone lands on the listing and they see that there's a specific amount of hours left, it creates urgency. You do whatever you feel comfortable with, but this is a strategy that I'm testing. And as far as promoting my listings, I'm using Pinterest right now, but I'm not focusing too much time on Pinterest, because what I'm going to do is once I start to see sales on specific designs, I'm just going to focus my Pinterest strategy on driving traffic to the things that are already selling on Etsy, because Pinterest can take a long time if you want to really optimize your keywords and make really aesthetically pleasing Pinterest pins. So I don't want to do that for all of my listings. I only want to double down on what's working. So I did pin about 20 pins just to start my account and start to build momentum. I really am going to save like my hardcore Pinterest strategy and go all in on only the things that are really selling well on my shop, which I won't know until I start to see more sales. And my publishing strategy, which is not really a strategy, it's more like a schedule, what that looks like is I'm just gonna try to post one new design per week, and I'll keep you guys updated if I change anything, if I decide to make a different product that maybe has even less competition, because like as you're doing keyword research, you do find new product ideas, so I'll let you know if anything changes. But right now, I just want to create 1 listing per week for Q1, which would equal to around 20 listings by the end of March. Now, like I said, my goal is to make $4,000 per month with this shop. It's probably gonna take me 6 months or more to do this, but that's what I'm going for. And if I don't see progress, I have some strategies up my sleeve that I'm going to implement in order to change things up and hopefully make more sales. If I don't make a certain amount of sales this coming week or two, I'll probably join Facebook groups and ask for feedback. So not just any Facebook groups. I'm gonna join Facebook groups where my target audience is and then ask them to look at my listing. And this is a good idea for 2 reasons. 1, you're not asking for a sale, which could be off-putting to some people. And 2, if your product is good, then you might actually get purchases. Actually, there's 3 benefits. 3 is that someone actually might leave you feedback, which is great because then you can implement the things that make sense for you from that feedback into your listing. Another strategy I'm gonna do is, like I said earlier, I did actually come across some products that had less competition, but still had similar demand. So if I'm not seeing traction or sales, I might try another product. And then I'm gonna A/B test more main photos and SEO. So basically I'm gonna duplicate my listings, swap out the main photo, and then also switch up some of the SEO to see if that will help as well. Let me know down below in the comment section if you have any questions or want me to share any additional details in my next episode. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.